Hi there, everyone. It is currently the 3rd of October, 2014. Meteorologist Robert Spetta joining you today, and we have a lot to talk about on this Friday. And good news, it's a Friday. You have time to spare because going into this weekend, it is going to be some rough weather across parts of Japan. Over towards Micronesia, we have a separate storm system developing, and of course, while Typhoon Phanfone is still moving off towards the northwest. Let's talk about this storm system first, which at this time is a very strong typhoon, and I say that figuratively, it is a very strong typhoon, but literally, the Japan intensity for this storm system is scaled at very strong. It goes from strong to very strong to violent typhoon intensity. We have winds of 95 gusting up to 135 knots in that center of circulation. Pressure down to 935 HPA. Expect it to continue to fall as we go into Saturday once it starts to make that churn towards the north and off towards the northeast. But really, at that bend of the churn, that's where it's going to be having its maximum outflow along. These clouds rotating clockwise away from the center of circulation off towards the north. You still have those very warm sea surface temperatures at that time, and expecting this to max out at the equivalent of a Category 4 a hurricane if this was into Atlantic. So it is a very strong storm system. The Joint Typhoon Warning Center with their 1-minute wind scale has winds at this time of 110 gusting to 135 knots. It's not quite typhoon intensity, but it will be pushing there because they expect it to intensify with 120 gusting to 145 knots. A little more intense with them, and as far as this storm system is concerned, I do agree with their strengthening of this and their current intensity estimate. Now, that's really the only thing I agree with the U.S. military on this as far as the track with this storm, because really all the other agencies at this time and where exactly this storm system is going to be going compared to the U.S. military. I'll actually move this over because what you can see here, this is not a spaghetti model. This is all the different agencies. You have Hong Kong, the USA, Japan, Beijing, Taiwan, and Korea. All of them expecting this to make landfall here into Kanagawa and Chiba Prefecture, also skirting the coast of the Kii Peninsula, and JTWC keeps it offshore. Really, all the models agree with what the agencies are saying, the WMO agencies, so I think this is a little bit too far to the right. There's a big difference here because if this does stay offshore, as what the JTWC is saying, then while it goes extratropical, the western flank of this really isn't going to be seeing that high of winds. So this would be actually fantastic news. Unfortunately, once I get into the model guidance, you'll see that that right-hand side of the track seems a little bit too far right. They do say in their prognostic reasoning is that historical bias with models, they typically stay offshore of Japan, but in this case, I don't see that exactly happening, and if the very least, if the center of circulation stays offshore, it is going to be very, very close. So let's break down the forecast here. This is using the ECMWF model, by the way. Really is coming in line with what all the other major agencies are saying. Going ahead through the rest of Friday, it's still offshore, but already we're starting to see some gusty winds, and there is a side effect with this. Showing you the thermal analysis here with the ECMWF, and this is showing you these warm winds. They are pumping in from the south. You have cooler air coming in from the northwest over Japan, but a lot of this winds are pulling in this much warmer temperatures for the Tokyo area. So on Friday, we've actually been seeing temperatures spiking into the 30s, record-breaking temperatures actually in Chiba Prefecture, due to that southerly flow of air out ahead of this storm system. That's a side effect. What everybody wants to know, though, is not about the temperatures, but your wind speeds. So let's break this down. The forecast from JMA here expected for the Daito Islands first. They're actually going to be seeing winds upwards about 250 kilometers per hour as this pushes just north of the islands, but the southern periphery, the southern eye wall, is expected to move just north of the Daito region. So it is definitely going to be some fairly intense conditions out there. Probably going to be seeing waves upwards about 12 to 13 meters high. Good news, there's about 5,000 people that live on these islands. They're used to typhoons. Also, the Japanese islands quite used to typhoons. That's over here towards the west, Okinawa and the Amami region. What I mean by that, the public knows what to do during a typhoon, but also a lot of the structures built with concrete, and they're just able to withstand these storms. Now, good news also is that this is going to be staying east of those of you into Okinawa, including Naha, expecting tropical storm strength winds to max out. That's about 35 knots, 65 kilometers per hour sustained, but we could be seeing gusts across the islands here, upwards about 100 kilometers per hour. That's enough to blow around some light debris here on Saturday, basically Saturday afternoon, going into the evening hours, and then overnight hours really peaking with winds continuing to gust up there, maxing out about 110 kilometers per hour, especially on the northern portions of the island where those winds are coming on shore. You can see it quite clearly here. You have Okinawa. Kadena, I know, is down here towards the south, especially along the west coast. When those winds wrap around, that could be some fairly gusty weather. We're also going to be looking at the precipitation, though. The good news is that the worst of it's going to be on the eastern periphery of it by this time. So as this moves off here, expect those scattered showers, but it's not going to be anything significant. Actually, this is a total rainfall accumulation from the ECMWF model, and it shows the worst of the rain. It stays offshore. Still some scattered showers, but the flooding stuff, it's not going to be like Naugori. You remember that? That just shut down the island of Okinawa. Stress that, because I know we had a lot of people that were there for that storm, and a lot of people are worried this could be the same thing. And it's not really. It's going to stay east. What people need to worry about is off here towards mainland Japan. Now, I'm showing you this ECMWF model. Let's pull up this track from JTWC. See the big difference here? And this is what I'm talking about. And they're saying that the historical data would support this. I don't see it supporting this far east of a jog from what the models are saying. Having this come on shore around the Kii Peninsula and then moving east. As it does push overhead, though, we're going to see some nasty weather. We're talking about winds up and down the coast here, upwards about 100, possibly 150 kilometers per hour. Monday afternoon, you can see these winds continuing to pour on shore around the Yokosuka, Tokyo area, right near the immediate coastline. Let's actually pull this up here on your map. You're also going to be seeing those winds up there. It's about tropical storm strength, and then higher. Look at that, sustained around 70, possibly gust upwards of about typhoon strength that this pushes overhead. So for those of you actually in the Kanto plain that are military, I know a lot of you are watching that in the military, T-Core 1, it's going to be happening. If they don't, I think it would be kind of silly not to. People should be staying indoors regardless as this does continue to push overhead. Look at this. It just dominates the country of Japan. Outlook was actually just showing you the sustained winds. Let's look at this, and you can see here on the right what the wind gusts are showing. And right here, you have those gusts upwards of about 70, and off the map, actually, upwards of about 120 kilometers per hour by Monday afternoon. The other big topic, actually, here at 7 minutes into the update, has been what's going to be happening in Suzuka. You have the Japanese Grand Prix, all right, into this area, just outside of Nagoya. That's scheduled to happen on Sunday, and you could be seeing some scattered showers out ahead of this storm. I think really the worst of it's going to be into the evening hours, so if they start it early, it definitely should be okay. Now, those people that have to leave immediately afterwards, there's going to be flight cancellations this weekend. But as far as if this races or not, I think this is going to be a decision they make on that day. No Formula One races have actually ever been canceled due to weather, so it'd be very interesting how that turns out. Monday, though, into Tuesday, conditions going to be improving. Dry weather wrapping quickly around this storm system by Monday night. And it's just going to fly by. That's what we see happening when we get storms this far north. It gets wrapped up with the jet stream. And as you can see here, Monday and then Tuesday, it's gone. Still some breezy conditions coming in from the north. Pulling back the picture, though, let's look elsewhere to the south and east because we have a new storm forming out there near Micronesia. And if you are in the Mariana Islands, this is another one to watch. Look at this. Actually, this takes it right over Guam and Saipan. Yeah, that could be a similar situation as Halong, actually. That one came overhead as a tropical storm, caused some damage on the island of Guam. Andersen Air Force Base right here on the northern extent of it, really by Monday morning. So at the same time Tokyo is dealing with Phanfone there, we could be seeing our next storm pulling through the Mariana Islands. Fair confidence on this actually occurring. You see here with the track from the nav gem pulls it off there towards the east, and eventually this could even pack Japan. So we have a lot of and I don't even want to get started on the one behind that looks like it's forming in the model outlook. But here is the current warning from the U.S. military. I'm going to show them for this scenario because the Guam National Weather Service uses them. It's actually the only agency in the Western Pacific that uses the JTWC. They're expecting it to pass Guam with winds upwards of about 65 knots. So it's going to be a typhoon when it pushes near Saipan. according to this agency. I think that's pretty legit, actually, and I think that's probably what will occur. So, yeah, 10 minutes in. Did you watch this update all the way through? I hope so. If not, well, then you're not here watching it. Thanks again for watching, though, right now. Stay safe out there, everybody. This is a series of serious storm systems. We're going to have a lot more information to come. Actually, a whole live update coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday afternoon. That way, at least I can talk for 10 minutes, and it actually seems legit. All right, guys, stay safe out there. And as always, thanks for watching.